Hi, Lisa.
Hey, Krista.
I'm excited to talk to Mr. Matt Kielian and Miss Amanda Sturgeon today of our early college program.
So tell me, when did you take your first college class?
In college,
Yeah,
not in high school.
I think a lot of people would say they took their
Yeah.
first college class in college.
I don't even remember we're talking I graduated in 94, so I don't even know if that was a thing. But I had a former student that I keep in touch with, and she's now a sophomore at Ohio State. And last summer, so this would be between her freshman and sophomore year, she was in town for the summer and we met for lunch. And she started talking about how after this year, she's going to go ahead and stay at Ohio State for her master's. And I was like, wait a second, like you just graduated. And that was when it actually hit me that they're graduating with an associate's degree. And it's like my son took a lot of AP classes and they don't some of them transfer, but it's not like you just don't have to take those classes.
Yeah.
We spent a lot of money for stuff that he's still going to end up taking in college. But with early college,
they start the college race so
yes,
much further ahead.
Yes. And so the fact that our students have access to that, and also you don't have to get the associates just to take any classes and have a few college classes under your belt, especially if you're just inherently talented at something. At science, maybe you don't take the full associate's degree route, but you just take those science classes. Yeah. It's wonderful. I think it's such a great opportunity.
Okay. So in one of our previous shows, we had Mick Becerra on, who talked a lot about career tech, and so that pathway for after high school for our students and what we are offering them on this building to get them career ready. And now we're going to talk to Matt and Amanda, who's going to be able to let us know how we're getting students college ready.
Yep. So Amanda Sturgeon is the director of early college. Matt Kielian is the coordinator of early college. And they're going to tell us all about the program. I know right now they've just probably started reaching out to the middle schools to let the 8th graders know they can apply. So this is really timely, and I'm excited. Let's get into it.
Let's get into it.
So we are here with our early college administrators, Amanda Sturgeon, Matt Kielian. Thank you for being on the podcast today.
Thank you for coming in and talk about this hidden secret we have here at Lorain City Schools.
I hope it's not a secret. I hope everybody knows about early college.
I hope they do too, because it's such a great program.
Yeah, it's our gem. So why don't we, in case people don't know, why don't we just talk about what the partnership is between LCCC and Lorain High School and what early college is?
Sure. So technically, it's a little misunderstood. We actually have two programs in our high school. Okay. So we have our early college program, which is an opportunity for our students who come in as ninth graders to work towards and obtain an associate's degree while in high school. And that is our partnership with Lorain County Community College. 95% of our classes are offered in this building. So with the exception of one arts and humanities that they take, and they just take that online. And then we have College Credit Plus, which is available to students who weren't quite ready as ninth graders, but want the opportunity to take college classes while they're in high school. So they have to follow different admissions requirements, but they have the ability to take college classes too. So for early college, we're looking at 8th graders, typically with good grades, good attendance, good behavior through their 8th grade year. And then for College Credit Plus, they actually have to either have a 3.0 or take AccuPlacer and pass the AccuPlacer in order to participate. So it's a little bit different if you don't start in 9th grade.
Yeah, I definitely didn't realize that there were two different pathways. To get college credit in high school.
Yeah,
and so lumped it all under.
Yeah, so and what we're really excited about for next year is we're going to have, not only will we have the Associate of Arts in our building, but we'll have an Associate of Science in our building.
I heard.
Yeah, and so with that, there are two pathways, and you would think like science is more math than science, but we have some students that aren't necessarily that great at math, but like science. And so on one pathway, they can take one math course and the two science sequences. And then on the other path, they can take a little bit more rigorous math and then the science sequences. So
can you walk us through the history of early college? Because I'm sure some of our listeners may remember dual enrollment and they say, oh, this must be the dual enrollment option.
Yeah. Okay. So Dual enrollment is what transitioned into College Credit Plus. So that's your traditional students who want to take classes for college and high school. Early college started, I would say, gosh, I don't know how long ago, but I do know that our original partnership was with Lorain County Community College, and we were on their campus. So the original agreement was that Elyria would send 50 kids and we would send 50 kids, and they would go to LCCC. And then they'd never be on our campus at all. They'd do their whole high school, college experience all in one on that campus. And what we found as we started looking at bringing the program home was that students weren't getting that high school experience. They didn't really get the opportunity to participate in a lot of our activities that we have here on campus. So like, while people say we're the gem, there's so many things that our campus has to offer that people don't realize. So, they could participate in career tech if they came here. They could participate in our theater programs. Band is another one because band's during the day here. They did have the ability to do sports, but it was still difficult. They had to transition.
Easier, yeah.
Like they weren't in school with the people they were playing with all day. They only saw them at sporting events. And just the day-to-day, like being engaged with your peers and going to like the lunchroom, there's not really that experience there.
So since you're talking about that, and either one of you or both of you can talk a little bit. Imagine that whoever's listening to this thinks that students in early college are completely separate.
Yeah, so that's a great, that we get that a lot.
Yeah.
So they are not. So a typical student, either 9 through 12, they take classes that are both college and high school. Mm-hmm. So when they're in their high school college or in their college classes, they're cohorted based on the fact that they're in a college class. But that would be no different than if you decided to join a career tech program. If you're in that career tech program, you're with those students while you're in the career tech program. But for the rest of the day, you are integrated with all the other students. So their high school experience is much more traditional in the fact that they are in like English and math all the way until they're pretty much a senior with their peers. And then their senior year, they take college English and math, which takes up a huge bulk of their time and usually entails some tutoring. So that's when they become more kind of just that their group, because that's what they're focused on. But 9 through 11, it's only probably one college class a day, 2 college classes a day, at a time. So the other time they're taking traditional courses. They go to lunch with their peers, which a lot of our students really enjoy. They get that time in the morning before the bell rings just to kind of hang out and chat. So it's
traditional high school.
Traditional high school.
So Matt, you're the coordinator of the program. And I know you have a counselor, Jill Greby's the counselor. So the students truly have a lot of support. And you mentioned tutoring. Before that senior year, like what kind of support are you usually giving?
Well, we do grade checks quite often, and we're in constant communication with teachers and the students. And if we see that a student is struggling, we make it a point to have conversations with them, sometimes with conversations with the parents, and we try to get ahead of it before it becomes an issue or a problem. But in terms of like extra help, we encourage after school conversations and communications with teachers before school. And then, as they get older, there's some holes in their schedule in terms of study halls and breaks where we'll have, it just kind of depends on the student, but we can provide time for them during the course of the day to get extra help.
I know I've never walked by either of your offices when there's not students sitting there, getting whatever help they need. But it really does look like a college advisor's office. You walk in, you're like, oh, they're with someone right now. Screens pulled up and looking through things. And
it's kind of the great component to our partnership with LCCC, right? So we have them right in our building. So we have a college advisor, Miss Churchill, who's like our liaison between LCCC and our school. And she comes in 2-3 times a week and she spends her whole day here. Like that's part of her job, is to work in our building with us. And so given that we have that, it gives the students a different lens. It gives them a better respect for the fact that it's not just high school like they are in college. And so they have those different people to rely on and different outlets. And, she brings in just a different skill set that teaches the students the importance of, their academic pathway and what courses they can take. And sometimes we get students who have like a niche or an extra interest, and there is space in the schedule for some extra elective classes. And so she's really good about saying like, hey, so-and-so's really into business. Maybe we should put them in a business class next semester. Or a good one for this year was, Miss Grebe noticed that a lot of our students wanted to take that Spanish 3-4 to get their honors diploma, but it wasn't afforded in the schedule because sometimes it's just not given their course load. And so we have about 5 to 7 kids taking online Spanish 1 through LCCC so that they can still obtain their honors diploma. So since our team works together so well, we are able to have those communication points and able to troubleshoot to find answers for students most of the time.
It sounds like you have access to a lot of different avenues for success.
Yeah.
When those, because a high school day is a high school day and you can't fit everything in.
Yeah.
So can you walk us through or highlight some of the courses that students can take? Because I'm sure this is a huge saver for families when they're thinking about sending their children off to college.
Yeah, so the freshman year they take, I'm probably partial because I used to teach it, but they take that Intro to College Studies course. And I think that's like the perfect intro to college because it teaches them study skills, it teaches them time management, it teaches them about themselves as a learner, like what kind of learner am I truly? It's kind of like I would say probably an old school freshman seminar type setup. And then they also have a couple other classes. They have a computer class and personal finance. So the other beauty of it is they're taking things that they need, right? So they need it for their college degree, but they also need it for high school graduation. So the computer class counts as a seal if they get an A or a B. The personal finance counts as the personal finance they need. And then they take ecology. Our science classes lately have been becoming a pretty big hit. So Mr. Wood teaches our ecology class. And they get to do different things as far as field trips go and just looking at the ecosystems and things like that. And then we have biology in the building. We're bringing back human bio next year, which we're excited about. We haven't had that probably in like 3 years. And then we're adding meteorology, which gives us that course for the Associate of Science. And that's going to be new for us, so we'll see. The kids are getting excited. We've had a lot of interest. Believe it or not, there's a ton of kids that are like, wait a minute, we can get an Associate of Science too. Yeah. And they want to go back and take that other science class. So it's pretty exciting.
So does meteorology allow, would there be... Would Titan News be able to have weather?
So it's funny that got brought to our attention probably 2 weeks ago, maybe.
It's the first thing I thought of.
Yeah, so
it was brought to my attention years ago from a student who said that they wish they had an opportunity to learn how
to do the weather.
So we did kind of float it past our teacher, and it might be something we can possibly do.
That's awesome, a relationship with Terry Trout's program.
Yeah,
that's
so
cool.
It might take a little while, but yeah, that's definitely something that's been discussed.
It's an important thing. I mean, that's the news I access, every single day. What is the weather going to be?
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Yeah. And then I think too, when we talk about the classes, our seniors, they do pretty much like math and English. They take it all year. So they have 2 math classes and then 3 English classes. And the English classes are offered on a trimester. It's a pretty unique setup to our building. So it allows the students 12 weeks to take each class versus the traditional kind of 16 time frame. And it gives us a chance to get an additional class in. So Miss Ferguson and Miss Turnus teach those classes for us here. And they're a really good team. They're like their own mini team.
Yeah.
And they work together really well with our seniors. And they do a lot of interesting projects. Recently, we had our freshman and our senior English classes come together to do a Socratic seminar.
Wow.
Our original plan was to do it on a book that they were reading in class. We were going to give the freshmen an excerpt, but then we had our fabulous cold day. So they ended up, so they ended up doing it on happiness, and I think that worked out even better. They're super excited about it. They came back and said they want to do it again. The freshmen want to do it on paper critiquing now, so our seniors would have the opportunity to critique our freshman papers, and our freshmen would have the opportunity to see the senior papers so they can kind of get that idea of what's expected next.
Yeah. Tell us some stories about, I know you're a parent and both your boys have gone through, Avon's finishing up, right? Is he a senior? Oh my gosh. And Asaya graduated last year, and then your girls will come here and they'll go through the program, right?
Possibly, yes.
Okay.
That's still in discussion.
So you have, and you've been in these roles for a long time now. You've raised your own kids, Kielian, through here. But you also, we know that our students are our kids, even if they're not our children. What are some great stories you have?
Well, I think what people don't recognize a lot of times that there are students that are coming here that could go other places. And I think that just says a lot. And I mean, yes, I had Avon in the program currently, and Asai graduated in the program. And it's just a great opportunity that we offer. And just hearing the success stories of our students and the parents, and yes, it does save them money. But I think most importantly, being a cohort and having the services that we have, the support services that we have, it's kind of like a family.
Yeah.
And it's we do our best to communicate with the parents, have establishing relationships with teacher student relationships, and then our team with Mrs. Greeby, Mrs. Churchill, and Sturgeon and myself. But just having students come back and talk about how well prepared they are for the next level or next session in their life with education. How prepared Mrs. Ferguson and Mr. Cawthon and Ms. Turnus and all of our other teachers, how much they've learned throughout the course of their high school experience, and that's what's important. We do our best to give them, it's an opportunity for them to obviously get college credit, learn what it takes in terms of time management and just the challenges of taking difficult classes. And for me, I think it's prepared my son to be at the College of Worcester.
How's he doing?
He's doing well.
I'm happy to hear that.
And this does afford them opportunity. Even if you want to play sports, you can balance it.
Yeah.
If you want to be at a club or any social activity, you can still do that. And it's just about, again, time management and the support that we give overall.
I took a grad of ours. She was in your program. I took her out to lunch when she was home from Ohio State. I think she graduated 2 years ago. And what was crazy to me is her saying like, oh yeah, I could be done next year if I want. And I'm like, hold on, wait, you just graduated from high school, but she graduated with so many, with her associates.
Yeah.
And that's what I think when Matt said it saves the parents money. And she's already talking about doing a master's.
Yeah, so we do have a lot of students. So I think since we've started doing this, there's been a huge uptick in like kids that actually go away to school. I think, as he was referring to, like the confidence that they gain from the program, I think that really changes their view on what they're capable of when they participate. And so even if you have a student who just takes a class or two, like they still have that confidence of understanding the language of college, and being able to be like, okay, I can do this. Like this isn't that foreign. It's really not that big of a deal. I can take that next step. And if they do complete the whole degree, a lot of them do. They talk about staying for masters all the time, and it's crazy to think you can be so young and have your master's degree is wild to me. But I think for us too, like parent relationships, when the parents come back and want to tell us what their kids are doing, like that's super exciting. And then sometimes we have full families where we'll have 2-3 siblings and, you get to watch them progress. Like we have one family who we have a pilot, a female pilot, a female firefighter, and then the one son went into the service, and the last son, I'm not sure what he's doing, but
that's all one family.
That was just one family. Yes, it's wild. So, I mean, it's really cool. I just ran into
really opens up the opportunities for our children once they go through these programs and they can see all the different possibilities that are out there for them.
Yeah, and we try and bring in colleges, and we talk a lot about college. We talk about where we went, and fortunately for us, because our team is kind of larger, we all have a very different experience, and so it does help with our students. Like Kielian went away to school. I didn't go away to school, so when kids are trying to make that decision, we can have honest conversations with them, and it's not fake, right? Like I'm not going to tell them what it's like to be on campus because I never did that, but he can tell them about the challenges and the different experiences that come with that, and some of the great and wonderful things where I kind of like, I stayed home. So that's a whole different experience, which has its positives as well.
Right.
And so it's crazy when you look back at all the kids that we've had an opportunity to be a part of their experience in their life and where they're at now. And the fact that they just want to come back and tell us is super cool.
So, have we reached a point in our early college career and trajectory that we've had students have come back to now become workers here? Or?
Yeah, so we have a couple of people. So we have a couple of students that are parapros in the district and are working in different buildings in various locations across the district. We have another individual who came back as a substitute teacher and now is working at one of our elementaries as a gym teacher. We have 2 more that are trying to make their way into the substitute system. I think sometimes when you go to school, if you're not necessarily sure, and then I think being a substitute... They
graduate pretty young, too.
Yeah, and being a substitute is like the perfect opportunity to get a lot of different life experiences, like decide whether you like working with kids, decide whether you like working in a school. And so I think it's a good opportunity.
I did it.
Yeah.
I did it when I was career changing, like, do I really want to do this? And I did. I loved it. So it is it's one of the few professions you can like tiptoe, stick your toe in and be like, do I, look behind the curtain? Is this for me?
Yeah. We had a student working in 2 students work in marketing for a while too, and then take next steps in other directions. But they were here for a while as well, which was pretty cool. That is, I think, the one of the really neat things about the job when you're like, oh my gosh.
Are there any like big challenges you guys face that people might not understand or realize?
I feel like the biggest challenge is our students have issues and they're whether it be home issues or they have mental health issues just as anybody else. And what they do and what we're able to do is we can still keep academics as a priority and but just the support that they still need, even though academically they may be a little bit more gifted, but at the same time, it's still challenging. It's still a struggle to maintain a certain grade point average that they're used to maintaining. In terms of getting to school, things are just it's challenging overall, and for our students to continue to be successful and progress and taking college classes and then at the end of the day when they're finally graduated, they can say, I did this despite the challenges that I faced. I think the mental health of our students, it's definitely a priority for us. Like I said, there's situations, whether it be financially or that's still something that we deal with on a daily basis. So even though they're in an early college program or they're taking college classes, it doesn't mean that everything's easy for them.
They face the same barriers and struggles that any other student would face.
Yeah.
Which
but
was
then on top of that,
such a great reason why we advocated to bring the program back into our campus because we have the wraparound supports for our students. And I'm sure Lorain County Community College has a lot of resources that they offer their students. But, like you said, we see our children as our kids. And so we like to make sure that we are having a lot more of a hands-on approach to how we're caring for them every day. So.
Is there anything about early college that you are like, I wish I could just tell the community this?
That's a great question.
Or things that, you're like, everybody I know we talked at the beginning about, that people don't fully understand that there's 2 separate ways to get college credit. But are there other things that you think are just a big misunderstanding?
Yeah, I would say, too, that, just because you're doing early college means that you have to get an associate's degree. Because it doesn't. It looks different for everyone. We probably start our cohort out every year anywhere between... on a low year, around 50, on a high year, closer to 100. And I think our highest associate degree graduation rate was 37. And so...
That's a big number, though.
It is.
A lot of kids.
Yeah. So it's a big number, and we are excited about it. But
what is that in money?
Oh, you're asking the non-math person.
Okay.
It's a
So
lot.
I'm thinking, 37 associate's degrees, times.
60 credits times 110
thousands
credits.
Do the math.
thousands of
Yeah.
dollars.
Get a calculator if you're listening.
Yeah. So, I think that's the money saving is a big deal. It does matter.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't matter if, we do that a lot with them, like, hey, they take a semester. Just break that down. Like, think about how much you're saving by just taking a semester of college. And then depending on where you are, that semester's value changes exponentially, right? Because if you go away, it's going to cost you a lot more for those first 15 credit hours than if you go to LCCC. But either way, you're not paying for them because you're done.
Career Tech and early college both have the unique ability to show our community to give them something for their money, for their tax dollars. We're actually giving them something for their tax dollars that's tangible, whether it's a credential, a certification in Career Tech, associate's degree, or just college credits. So I think that's why so many people are like, those are the gems. Those are, because we can offer that at Lorain High School, and it does show a family. Like, I live here, I pay taxes, and my son or daughter got an associate's degree.
Yeah, we got a message like right after we posted about the Associate of Arts degrees and the Associate of Science degree, and our liaison messaged us with like all these other numbers. There's a bunch of kids that are getting certificates this year too. So there was a new certificate that came out, I think she said in 2019, and so they're getting a transfer certificate. We also have a couple STNAs, licensed STNAs that are working, that are graduating.
Nice.
And there were a couple other small certificates that weren't even in our original tally that are things that get added on. Like once you apply for graduation, you get that associate's like check off.
Yeah.
Then they start looking to see what else is in the bucket that you might be eligible for, and then they award those as well. So yeah, we have quite a big year.
Yeah, I gave a tour to our Lorain Rotary the other day, and they said, oh, this is so, like, look at Career Tech. And because we were doing Career Tech tour, we walked by your hallway in early college, and now what is this? And I said, well, this is our college hallway, and what does all this cost? And I said, nothing.
Yeah.
What do they pay for welding? Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It's your tax dollars at work.
Yeah.
And that's amazing because you don't have to look outside the district. You don't have to look for other buildings or other entities to give you what your student can receive right here in the building.
Yep.
It's not an either or. It's not, I want to learn welding, but I also want to be a football player. I want to learn culinary, or I want to receive my associate's degree, but I also want to be in marching band. Our building allows you to do all of it.
Yep.
We're now part of the early college organization, and we get complimented all the time on the way the programs ran and the way that just what we offer, and how it's structured. And this is coming from the organization that has a ton of
15 or 18 other early colleges in the state.
in the state of Ohio.
And the majority of them are structured around the 15 and 30 pathway, so they're not structured the same way that we are. So their focus is not as high.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I feel like ours is the bar set high, but we can get all these other things underneath of that. So it kind of works out.
Yeah. So I want you guys to talk to me a little bit about graduation day, because I know that often our students graduate from Lorain County Community College a few weeks before they graduate high school. What's that feeling like for them?
So this year's going to be crazy because it's the day after prom.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
We have some students that aren't necessarily the happiest about. They're happy about getting their degree, but it being right after prom is a little challenging.
Yeah. We just reminded them that they'll be ready, for the day.
But yeah, so I think it's a great day for everybody, our community, our students, their families, to graduate with the degree with older people that have actually been on the campus, and we just to be able to just show them that all the hard work was worth it, and being able to see other people on campus, on Lorain County Community College campus, getting their degrees and their certificates, and them still being in high school, it's just an honor in and of itself. But it just as a parent, it was last year was amazing to see, and then just as a proud part of the program, seeing all of our students each year, just see the fruits of their labor. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, and a lot of them, because it is a couple weeks before, like it's crazy to think about, they're done with college essentially before they're done with high school.
Wow.
So it is a couple of weeks earlier, and both experiences I think have value. But for us, it is kind of like you see everything that they've worked for, and a lot of them do struggle. So you watch them go through those struggles, and you get to see like what's on the other side of all that, and talk to them about what's next. And we're fortunate enough that we get a section in we get to sit with the faculty of LCCC,
Wow.
so we kind of get like front row seats to commencement for that. And I've always found that to be like special and a privilege that they don't necessarily have to do, but they always have accommodated us. And so it's a good day for our teachers too, to remind them like why they do what they do, if they didn't already know it. But just to see that, all the things all the impact that they had, and how it's going to change essentially how that individual lives probably for the rest of their life,
Yeah. Do you have?
So we're adding the Associates of Science this year, coming up for for our students. Is there other ways you would like to see early college grow?
You're asking the tough questions today. So this is a big one for us. So we've had the Associate of Arts for a while, and so bringing on the science is pretty huge. It wasn't possible until probably last year because they changed up some things at the college. I think for me, if there's anything that I think I'd like to see more or growth for, before COVID, we were able to get to campus a lot more with our students, and we haven't been able to really recover from that yet. And so for me, I think that would be great. And I would like to lean into our partnership with College Now, because College Now is in our building. We partner with them a lot in our program because it helps students do FAFSA, and our students need the FAFSA because most of them are taking that next step. And so they used to do a bunch of trips as well. And so partnering with them just to get our students out to more colleges and earlier, because it's almost like senior year is too late. But that's when they're thinking about it, right? But that's kind of got to be like a sophomore, junior thing. Like you need to be visiting those places early on, so you get a feel for like what you're thinking you want to do next, where you want to be. Because each campus is so different. Size, for one, location.
I did all the college tours with my son junior year, and everyone has possibilities, and and then you have to wonder, am I getting in? Is this even could this be a reality? Just doing the trips is eye-opening.
Yeah, I've taken my girls to visit some of our previous students a couple of times, so they've got to go and be in different spaces.
I would tell anybody listening that if you go on any trips and there are universities nearby, I don't care how old your son or daughter is, go visit the college, even if you just drive through it.
It's so true.
Because it's a trip you're not going to have to take their junior year.
It's free. It's literally free. You Google what's close and you can drive through campus. A lot of times there'll be buildings that are open.
Yeah.
I know we stopped in Ohio State and went into a lecture hall and sat down for a little bit. And if you have a student who's been in our district or goes to our district now, we do have a lot of kids now in a lot of different spaces, and we're able to make connections for students too. Like, oh, I'm thinking about this college. Well, let's see who we have there, who graduated from there, and get you connected so you can have that conversation.
That's
because
great.
Campuses are all different.
Yep.
So, Matt, do you have any closing comments you want to make about early college for our listeners?
Just, I know you'd mentioned how would we like to see the program grow. And me personally, I would like to get to a point where the universities, we have a partnership with them to maybe have some type of direct admissions. And because our kids, they are prepared. We prepare them, and our students are the students that they want on their campus anyway. So therefore, I would like to see some point in time, a partnership with, we have obviously Ohio State, but and with Toledo and Kent State, Akron. A lot of our students go there anyway. So it'd be nice to have some type of partnership in Toluca. We make admissions.
Yeah, you were speaking of the admissions process. Like, people don't realize the pressure to that whole process.
Yeah.
And to be able to alleviate that for our students would be phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, how can our families get connected with early college if they believe early college is an option for their student?
Yeah, so if you have an eighth grader who hasn't applied yet, they would want to see their guidance counselor. We just sent out our admissions for next year. We're looking at about 80 kids right now, but we're still getting applications here and there. And so they really need to get in contact with their guidance counselor. Like, that's the first step. And then they can always visit our webpage and get in contact with us as well.
Fabulous.
All right.
Well, thank you both for coming. This was, I learned stuff that I didn't know, and I'm sure other people listening will as well.
Yeah.
And we're so proud of Early College. We're so proud of you guys, and shining star of the district for sure.
And I love the allowing children to take college classes on the high school campus to let you see that the potential is there, and you have the capacity and you have the capabilities of doing this higher level work.
Yeah,
Thank
agreed.
you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having
Okay.
us.
Thank you for having
Thanks.
us.
Thank you.
That was incredible. Like you said earlier, we've already talked to our career tech director, and we learned all about the different opportunities in career tech for our students. But now hearing everything they can do in early college while they're doing career tech, while they're doing band, while they're playing sports, it's being in clubs, being here at the high school, having a high school experience is insane. It's amazing.
I mean, we want our students to really enjoy the time they have here at Lorain High School, but we also want them to think about what you're going to do when you leave our building.
Yep.
And we want to prepare them for whatever pathway they want to take.
And we want to take care of them while they're here
Yeah.
in every way. And the fact that we can do this on our campus is incredible. And I've said it before, we are one of the only comprehensive high schools that offer so many things here on our campus. Other high schools offer similar things. You have to leave. You have to go somewhere else, either to LCCC, to a vocational school. We do everything here under our roof.
So
Yeah.
I thought that was an amazing opportunity for us to talk with them.
So we are super excited to have talked to them, and we will be back in a couple weeks with another guest and learning more about Lorain City Schools.
That's right. And I'll give you a hint. We are looking to ease on down the road.
Interesting. Spring is in the air. Wonder what it could be. Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.